prompted widespread closures of schools and universities across the Philippines. While the adults deals with the worst that this crisis, the children stay at home. That's how it's supposed to be. However, online classes don't give everyone the option to just stay at home. The Philippines is facing unprecedented health, economic, and social challenges. The normal days are behind us. Therefore, we should stop trying to keep up the normal things in the times of new normal. Until all the struggles mentioned above are properly addressed and mass testing is well underway. Freezing the academic school year might be our best option for now.
Ultimately, we can ask, what do we lose if defer or postpone the opening of classes so that we can synchronize our academic calendar with the basic education? Postponement is not a call for academic freeze or hibernation. We strongly believe that even in time of pandemic, education should still continue so that our students can develop resilient characters and acquire skills necessary to cope with the health crisis. The experience we had during mid-year classes should be benchmarked for moving forward. From this experience, we can assess the necessary adjustment we have to make. The number of students per class, the dropout rate, the accessibility of learning resources and technological readiness of students, and the minimum number of units that can be enrolled. We do not subscribe to the dangerous idea that just because we are in an extraordinary time, we can lower our standard, but education in this time of emergency need not be formal or based on on-site learning. From September to December, we can encourage our faculty to provide bridging programs and capsule courses to prepare students for the eventual opening of classes until our nation can help when the trade-off between economic activity and public health will enable us to ease restrictions on normal life. Anxiety about the extent and duration of the COVID-19 lockdown will continue. Faced with these untold anxieties arising from current health crisis, Department of Education and Commission on Higher Education are just too eager to open. By August for basic education and September for tertiary education by touting our readiness and for blended learning. Shifting to online or distance learning from real classroom learning delivery is an arduous task that needs technological infrastructure, the readiness of the teachers and learners, the creation of virtual learning communities, and intensive curricular adjustment and pedagogical course development. This element of necessary if a successful shift to online learning or blended education is the desired goal in this migration material. Support for learners and educators as well as support staff are and all decision with regard to launching this pivotal shift must be based on empirical data and wide-ranging feedbacks and consultation with the sectors involved, including parents and other stakeholders. According to the experts, the most important factor for successful distance learning is a caring, concerned teacher who is confident, experienced, at ease with the equipment, uses the media creatively, and maintain a high level of interactivity with the students. For explanation, we must still continue studying even if there's a pandemic, so the student will continue the stage for development and skill that can cope with the crisis. It is not necessary to postpone the education because it can be done through online classes or distance learning. in order for us to make adjustments. And be ready in learning. They change the month of class to August for basic education and September for tertiary education. We can reach the teachers if we need help about the lesson. We can message them if we have something to ask about the lesson or if we did not understand the lesson that he had discussed. It is important that the teacher will reach out the student whenever they have a problem in the lesson. The teacher must have concern to every student that they are teaching not because it's their duty but because they are willing to.
Good day. Based on the findings that we search, the first evidence I want to report is according to the Federation of Association of Private Schools and Administrators, or FAPSA or FAPSA, with about 3,000 members of it. This organization said that the calls for an academic freeze are very untimely, especially at this time when the many private schools are fighting for their survivals. So, sinasabi na ang pagsasatupad daw ng academic freeze ay hindi pa daw oras dahil sa mga private school na kumbaga yun, online class na parang magiging bias naman sa iba kung mag-academic freeze dahil sa wala silang mga kagamitan. Kaya ang ginawa nila is through module. According to FAPSA, President Eliardo Casilag said that there is the move called academic freeze to halt classes until the vaccine comes now. Even if that pushes through, the private school will continue. Yon nga yung sinabi ko kanina na magpapatuloy pa rin ang private school dahil sa online class. So for this case, this will be biased for the public school who will strictly forced to stop studying in the school for 1 year. The second one is based on the findings in South Korea. Sinasabi dito na 2 students tested positive for COVID-19 as 66 schools reopened. Then, in the Philippines, a 20-year-old student from Capiz died of a motorcycle accident dahil sa pagpapasa ng kanilang mga modules. Or sa pagpasa ng kanilang modules, kaya kumbaga nangyari yung motor accident. Tapos, while another 20 years old student from Masbate climbed a mountain. So, that 2 students both were searching for a signal or just to submit their academic requirements. And then, in Japan, the students claim more that the quality of a classes dropped, making them feel meaningless through online education. And because of this pandemic, many students are suffered because and that factors in every country will affect in the society na kung pinatupad ang academic freeze ay yung mga kabataan sana na ay makaligtas at hindi mahirapan dala ng pandemya. Kaya bilang isang kabataan, agree ako sa academic freeze dahil sa hindi lang sa nahihirapan din kami dahil din sa mga public school na mas lalo pang nahihirapan at syempre kami din dahil sa gumagamit kami ng gadgets. So naaapektuhan yung aming health progress. Yun lang po.
Health is important Education may continue when there's proven COVID-19 vaccine for the safety of everyone. In this pandemic time, marami tayong kailangan unahin. Maraming nawalan ng trabaho, maraming nagugutom. Ang kaunting kalansing ng bariya sa kanilang bulsa ay ibibili na sana ng ulam mamaya. Ngunit ipang-load pa ito para umattend ang klase ni teacher. Also, in the Philippines, the internet connection are unstable. Napakaraming internet provider dito sa atin, ngunit hindi natin may pagkakaila ang bagal at hina ng mga ito. Bigyang pansin sana ang solusyon sa ating kinakaharap na pandemya, bilang pasasalamat at tulong na rin sa dedikasyon ng ating mga frontliners. Napakalaking dagok rin ito sa mga magulang, sa mga gagastusin nila sa pagpapaaral ng kanilang mga anak. Sa dinami-rami ng problemang kinakaharap ng bawat isa ukol sa personal na buhay, there is no student should left behind. Yes, nothing is more valuable than education, but nothing is more important than health.
Good day, I am Jose Peralta. For today, I am about to read my piece at our position paper. The topic is, academic freeze is the best option for Filipino students for now. Education is not a privilege, it is a right. Education should always be for all at any cost. Due to the extreme increase in the number of COVID-19 cases in the Philippines, and the curve has not yet flattened, it is possible by the beginning of the school year 2020-2021, the number of cases registered would have to double. The pupils are not identical. Not everyone has the opportunity to conform to the traditional form of education that is modern. It has been shown that it is unsuccessful and expensive to include online learning as an alternative to educating learners. Not every student has the privilege of having the resources they will need for the online-based learning that DepEds want to launch this school year. For example, mobile phones, tablets, computers, laptops, and mostly internet connection. Even before the digital device is entirely solved or the results of the mass testing and curve flattening are already empirically checked, and an academic freeze can be enforced. It is not really the best answer. This would include flexible instructional terms, schedule, and curriculum to reduce the required school days, reduce the number of course requirements, and the decrease of the normal expected tuition, and other expenses over the use of educational facilities. The transition to online learning classes would also put the Filipino student population at a major disadvantage. If there is no internet access, how can study work be performed? How will their teachers communicate with them? How are they able to learn for individuals who are fortunate enough to have a laptop and secure internet connection? Education must not be exclusive, and after all, education will always be for all. Academic freeze could be a solution at this point. Kasi hindi naman lahat tayo is pantay-pantay. Pwedeng meron tayo na wala sila. Mas marami tayong kakayahan na wala sila. Dapat sa panahong to ng pandemic, dapat walang estudyanteng maiiwan. Dahil lahat tayo ay apektado nito. Walang mayaman, walang mahirap. Lahat tayo ay nakakaranas ng pandemic at lahat tayo ay apektado nito. Kaya para sa akin, ang academic freeze ay pwedeng maging solusyon sa oras na ang pandemyang ito.
Academic freeze refers to the cancellation of formal schooling amid the COVID-19 crisis in the country. So, called academic freezers are urging the government and the Department of Education to cancel the year 2020-2021 both public and private school due to the challenges faced by students and parents as they navigate distance learning. Education Secretary Leonor Villalobos rejected an academic freeze, retraining that delaying the school opening further would be very detrimental to the parent. She also noted that Filipino students will be left behind when classes are cancelled this year. It also might increase the risk of the delinquency, and without student tuition to keep the paychecks coming. An academic freeze could also jeopardize the job security of teachers and school workers, many of whom have already lost their jobs. Students may use their phones in that time so that can affect their health. Other than that, they can try many things that they would or shouldn't try that can make their self-humiliated or make their life in danger. That's all. Thank you.
Education Secretary Leonor Villalobos declined the request of many people to have a pandemic freeze for the school year 2020 to 2021, both private and public schools. She also noted that Filipino students will be left behind if the classes are cancelled this year. Secretary Briones care about every Filipino student for them for not left behind and not wasting their time while we are on this pandemic situation. So that she canceled the request of many Filipino people rather, to have academic freeze in year 2020 to 2021, private and public schools. Academic freeze refer to the cancellation of formal schools because of COVID-19 crisis in the country. Students may use their phones and the time so it can affect their health because of the too much using their smartphones or other gadgets. Academic freeze means the cancellation of class because of this crisis that we are suffering. But because of the decision of Secretary Briones, we are continuing the class this year using a technology that can cause a bad effect for the students because of too much use.
COVID-19 cases will increase if it will be possible that the opening school year 2020-2021 to the students. Having this online platform to the other students has been hard. Why? By having a poor connection of internet here in the Philippines, also some parents can't afford to buy cell phone or laptop to their children. We recommend that academic freeze was much way better to the students who had been in a hard way of learning in this year until COVID was fully resolved. By approving academic freeze, it will be a big help to the other students who hasn't enrolled, also to the students who had poor connection, and to those who haven't any gadgets that can be used in their online platform. This year has been bad to all people because of this virus. Also to those students who had been feeling in a hard way in this online learning because we're in the pandemic. We students recommend academic freeze because it will be a great and big help to us.
We agree about the academic freeze because we believe that from this, we can help our frontliners to flatten the curve, and we also strongly believe that online classes may affect the physical, mental, and emotional health of students, and it may also be burden to the parents in providing the needs of their children in the online class in this pandemic time.
An academic freeze refers to the suspension or cancellation of the academic calendar and non-admission of students across all levels. The petitioner claimed that academic freeze is vital in this time wherein there is a pandemic. Many students want to have an academic freeze in the midst of the pandemic, facing the world because they are struggling with the Department of Education online class method. Many have no gadgets available, so others decided to quit this year first. Regrettable, but we can do nothing. That is why others are asking to stop entering this year first for the said reason. It may not be the best solution, but an academic freeze can be adopted until the digital divide is fully resolved or results of mass testing and curve flattening are already evaluated empirically. This will require a flexible academic term, calendar, and curricular to lessen the school days required, lower the number of course requirements, and reduce tuition and other fees usually projected for the use of school facilities. Academic freeze will give the country time to have an academic and efficient mass testing or mass vaccination, not only in the hands of one, but for a collective and responsive system to push throughout this pandemic.
This pandemic really challenged everyone. We want to address that education may set aside and prioritize the safety of everyone. Imagine some students do not have internet connection. Families' budget may sacrifice for them to have load, and we cope up with this position paper to bring message to the authority that they should try to put themselves to the shoe of others for them to realize the situation of those people who are affected by the COVID-19.
How do you come up on your claims? In this pandemic cases, as a student and as a member of this society, we must focus on the health of every student or the safety of every student, because we do not know what will happen to ourselves and if that cases will begin soon. So, for this time, we should prevent it by approving a academic freeze, even if for just 1 year, because we believe that the children are hope for the future, or ang kabataan ng pag-asa ng bayan. Kaya importante na isa rin sa mga bagay ay ingatan ang kaligtasan. And we agree about sa pagsasatupad ng academic freeze.
The good in the online class is don't need to go to the school because of this pandemic. It will lessen the expenses of our daily life. Other than that, having a poor connection of internet here in the Philippines. Also, some parents can't afford to buy a cell phone or a laptop to their children. We recommended that academic freeze was much way better to the students who have been in a hard way of learning in this year until the COVID was fully resolved. So many of the students can afford the technology that we need to join the online class session.
State at least one strong argument. Some of the students can't afford their need devices for their online class, either smartphone, tablet, or laptops. Because not all the students from private schools are rich to provide it. In public schools, some of the students too can't afford either radio and TV that they needed in distance learning for them to learn and to answer their activity in modules.
What is your conclusion? Our group conclusion as we write this position paper is to fight for equality for all of students who are all been working hard for many long years to study, as this pandemic brought us to online classes learning that not all of us can even adapt to. We write this wholeheartedly with proper claim and objectives.
Academic freeze can also be adopted through a no vaccine, no classes policy wherein all academic calendar and curricula need not to be adjusted but just have to freeze it academic year. If there is no vaccine yet as of 2020, suspended academic year 2020 to 2021 and resume classes on academic year 2021 to 2022 without adjusting June to March and August to May academic calendar. We agree about the academic freeze. It is because, to be fair for those who can study because of the lack of gadgets that can provide in studying. We know that the school education is important to the children because children are hope for the country, but for the health and knowledge that we will come up. We should prioritize it private or public. It is just for 1 year for the fairness and the good health that the students needed. No student should be left behind. Education is right, but Mrs. Response speaks of valuing.
The person who helped me was a great leader in making this position paper. He was the one who advised and also correcting my wrongdoings. I cannot done this work without him, so thank you. Important in our lives because academic freeze is what we needed right now. Also, to the students who had been in a hard way of learning this school year.